the Lord of the Rings. Ganondorf, the calamitous demon king of Princess Zelda's Hyrule. Evil has many shapes, but few can match the presence of these kings of blight and shadow.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Within the timeless halls, at the dawn of creation, the supreme god Eru and his angelic Ainur created all of existence through a single harmonious song.
But one of these angels just had to be a rebel. Melkor ruined that harmony, giving the world its many, many imperfections, like Wiz. Then after messing up God's hit single and going rogue, Melkor took up a new name just to be even more metal, Morgoth.
Morgoth's power was impressive, daunting. Several Maiar, essentially lower-ranked angels, joined him in his frightening conquest of the world he had helped create.
And the greatest of these followers was one obsessed with destroying all life in the pursuit of bringing about complete order.
He used to be Myron, but under Morgoth's reign, he became the one and only Sauron.
As the bigwig of Morgoth's forces, Sauron spent thousands of years bringing Middle-earth to its knees.
He's almost more a force of nature than anything else, able to create infernos, cause country-spanning earthquakes, and even absorb souls.
And because he's a weird angel spirit man, he can morph his body around his own soul however he wants, or just shed it like clothing and fight as a ghost!
He can morph far beyond that. He has appeared as something akin to both man and elf, attractive and devious. A werewolf, once thought to be the greatest wolf of all, and even a vampire.
Oh man, Tumblr's gonna go nuts with that.
Many of his greatest accomplishments are not due to his powerful magics and weaponry, but his inhuman cunning. Sauron is nothing less than a master of manipulation.
He's like if Loki and Satan did a fusion dance. He loves to trick someone with illusions, shadow magic, or just by toying with their sad, predictable, pathetic human emotions. Like when he convinced Saruman to join the evil side, who was basically a super wizard specifically meant to lead the charge against Sauron.
In some ways, Sauron is actually wiser than the master he served. In the most epic war to eclipse all other wars, humans, dwarves, elves, and more united to destroy Morgoth, casting what remained of Melkor into the void.
But Sauron saw it coming and bailed faster than me at a divorce hearing, just to show back up centuries later in the fiery pits of Mordor.
There, the Dark Lord created a plan to conquer everything. He fooled the elven smiths into forging 19 rings of power and planted them among the leaders of elven, man, and dwarven kind, all controlled by another ring he made in secret.
The one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Oh god, that's so epic. I think I'm into poetry now. Forged in the fires of Mount Doom using part of Sauron's own soul, the One Ring amplified his power and let him control the minds and actions of the other ring bearers.
The 9 kings of men were especially vulnerable and saw themselves reduced to twisted wraiths bent to Sauron's whims.
It wasn't any better for the less kingly humans, so much so that Sauron mind-controlled most of Numenor. We're talking about an island nation that could have had as many as 18 million people, and Sauron had them all at his creepy, pokey fingertips.
This led to retaliation from Eru, who had hardly directly intervened ever before, even against Morgoth. Eru sank Numenor, while Sauron was still on it. But the Dark Lord's spirit persevered, indestructible even against the wrath of God.
Sauron used the ring to build himself a new body. It may have cost a lot of power, but he took a biblical event to the face and went right back on to being evil.
And yet, putting so much power into one object did have drawbacks.
Which hit back hard when Isildur subtracted a digit from his hand.
The Warrior King did more than just cut off a finger. He took the ring and its power for himself. This act forced Sauron to retreat as a disembodied spirit, threatened by his own power in the hands of another. And should the One Ring be destroyed completely, Sauron's spirit could be rendered impotent beyond repair. It isn't all bad, though. The ring can turn you invisible, create visions of impending doom, and has one hell of a defense mechanism.
Yeah, who'd want to destroy it when it makes you want it? It has a will of its own, with promises whispered even the best of us can't refuse. The greatest poultry dinner ever, Boomstick. Bourbon, pecan, parmesan, turducken, It's so precious.
What did you just do?
What? It sounded delicious. Well, ring or no ring, Sauron's a beast. He's swatted away armies of soldiers and erupted Mount Doom through sheer willpower. He has total control over his own being and can modify his soul at will. So he can definitely resist someone like spooky ghost Celebrimbor trying to dominate his spirit.
And being among the strongest Maiar, the peak of Sauron's power is beyond that of Osei, a lesser Maya, which is specifically important because Osei single-handedly raised the island of Numenor.
Yeah, remember that island that got Noah'd? That place. No wonder everyone wants his ring. Who could turn down that much power?
Not Isildur. The hearts of men are easily corrupted, and he kept the ring rather than destroy it. But in the end, the ring destroyed him and waited for its master's return.
Sauron was rebuilding Mordor into a world-conquering force. And after a little bit of good old-fashioned torture, he found out the ring was in the Shire. The chillest, coziest, dopest place imaginable. Ah man, when I retire, I'm gonna go live in a hobbit hole and just get lit 24/7.
And so began the War of the Ring. Sauron's forces covered the land, seeking both the ring and the downfall of man, always shadowed by the symbol of his ever-present influence, the Eye of Sauron.
It was a slaughterfest. Middle-earth stood no chance. Everybody basically accepted death by orcs as inevitable. It was hopeless. The kingdoms of men would finally fall for good.
Save for the Dark Lord's truest weakness. Sauron's cunning and stratagems were impressive, sure, but ultimately, he never truly understood the people of Middle-earth. In his mind, absolute power was factually irresistible. He never imagined a mere mortal could ever or would ever seek to actually destroy the One Ring.
Against all odds and a whole lot of walking, Sauron was defeated. Not by the sparkly new king or the armies of Middle-earth, but by the most unlikely creature imaginable, Elijah Wood.
Yet, even as a formless shadow, Sauron's legacy remains one of domination, treachery, and most of all, fear. Fitting for the being that represents, and I quote, as near an approach to the wholly evil will as is possible. Millennia ago, in an age long past, the Demon King Demise threatened to pull the world into blood and war.
Until he got his ass slapped by this pointy-eared boy in green.
Undaunted by being, murdered, Demise cursed the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero to be forever haunted by his wrath made flesh. That curse became Ganondorf Dragmire.
Good old Dorf was born to the Gerudo tribe of the desert. Thing is, the Gerudo were all ladies, and Ganondorf was the first male born in 100 years, which automatically made him their king. Because reasons, I guess? Wait, so he gets to be in charge and has the best odds on Tinder? That's my dream come true. Who could want more?
Ganondorf could. Jealous of the neighboring kingdom of Hyrule's verdant fields, clean water, and not being a godforsaken desert, he dreamed of a better world for his people.
Or, just for himself. Being the reincarnation of ultimate evil means you're probably kind of a selfish douche.
And surprisingly, his vile ambitions would be rewarded. Turns out, he was also preternaturally adept at magic, as befits an education from his caretakers, the witches Koume and Kotake.
From them, Dorf learned to pitch balls of electricity, summon lightning, move objects with telekinesis, levitate, form barriers, and control minds.
When he wishes to fight from a distance, he can create phantom horsemen or puppets of himself to battle as his proxies.
Or if he wants to get personal, he can use his dark magic to enhance his physical strikes, making him a badass at all ranges.
He's a master with a blade, sometimes two, and sometimes on horseback.
And sometimes two swords on two horsebacks?
Let's not get crazy. He was just a man, after all, though not for long. With his magical training complete, Ganondorf put his greatest skill to the test, his raw cunning. By manipulating the rulers of Hyrule and its neighboring domains, as well as a curiously familiar boy in green.
Hey, what do you know? Weird coincidence.
Ganondorf gained entry to an alternate dimension called the Sacred Realm. Within it lay the Triforce, a magical artifact left by the gods said to grant the wish of whomever touches it.
The perfect solution to all your world-conquering needs. Except once Ganondorf got his hands on those golden Doritos, two of them jumped ship.
See, only someone with a perfect balance of courage, wisdom, and power can wield the complete Triforce. If someone with an imbalance between those three virtues touches it, it splits. In this case, the pieces of wisdom and courage went to Ganondorf's enemies, Princess Zelda and the hero Link.
Oh, that's embarrassing. But he did get to keep the Triforce of Power, because who needs the courage and wisdom shit when you can just blow stuff up? That's how I live.
Even on its own, the Triforce of Power radically improved Ganondorf's strength and magical prowess, while also elevating him from a mere warlock to the Demon King he was always meant to be.
Literally, he can turn into a big blue pig monster.
The dark beast known simply as Ganon is a nearly unstoppable terror, gaining even greater strength without sacrificing any of his intellect.
As a bacon wizard, he can obliterate foes with fireballs, turn invisible, teleport, summon darkness, and even distort the space around him.
Despite all that power and even successfully ruling Hyrule for 7 years, Ganondorf was soundly defeated and sealed within the Sacred Realm. There he remained, trapped outside the spaces of reality, a prisoner to the void between space and time, never to return ever again.
Sorry. I couldn't keep a straight face.
Yeah, no, he got out like the next day.
So nothing holds Ganon back for long, and he's insanely tough to kill. In fact, thanks to his part of the Triforce, he's almost indestructible. While most weapons can technically harm him, it usually takes a holy weapon like the Master Sword or light arrows to put him down.
He once survived being crushed within his own castle, which, based on its size and composition here, and accounting for the hollowed out interior, should weigh over 11,000 tons.
Even better, he later withstood a different castle exploding around him. Wow, some of this guy in castles.
By measuring the size of the in-game castle model and assuming violent fragmentation, we can determine it was a blast worth almost 2 kilotons of TNT, a yield comparable to early atomic bombs. And even though holy weapons can bypass his defenses, he still survived being stabbed in the face with the Master Sword. You know, the literal blade of evil's bane.
Or like when he was impaled through the chest by one of the sages after he was supposedly sealed away. He just yanked that shit right out and murdered the bastards that did it to him. Heads up, Wiz, you ever stab me again and that's what's happening to you.
Right. Well, Ganondorf isn't just tough. He's powerful enough to punch shockwaves, tear up an island, and block out the sky with his magical malice.
Plus, he can keep up with Link. He's even killed him in one timeline. And this fairy boy can dodge Beamos lasers.
Which are literal lasers. They move in a straight line, burn instead of exploding, and according to the game's guidebook, are called lasers. So they should move at light speed. Based on the distance Link moved relative to this beam, we can estimate his own reaction speed to be about 11% the speed of light.
Too bad old Dorf Lundgren doesn't get to hold on to Hyrule for too long. Still, you can stab and seal him away all you want. This big pork bastard will always be back to bring about your crispy demise.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for an undeath battle!
How disappointing. This world should be shrouded in darkness, not bathed in insufferable light. All these weak, peace-loving cowards running rampant. It would have been more satisfying to become a worthy foe. I shall claim what is mine.
Your castle is lost, vampire. No man can challenge my power.
In the body of elf or man, you are unchanged.
I'm no mere man. Your tricks may
wasn't all powerful before, look out for supercharged Sauron now.
Despite Ganondorf's impressive power, Sauron's might was absolute.
But not before he got the duel of his life in a crazy close bout.
There was a lot going on here. Both Ganondorf and Sauron show similar reaction speeds, with only a small % difference when compared to the speed of light. They were both brilliant schemers who have perfectly manipulated many intelligent foes, and their standard magical arsenals seem pretty comparable overall.
But Sauron did have a leg up with a few extra magic powers that Ganondorf just didn't have. Like how he could rip out his soul in a bunch of different ways. That's something Ganondorf never really had to guard against before. Also, remember how Ganondorf survived an explosion worth about 2 kilotons of TNT? Turns out, Osei was doing twice the work.
By examining official maps to determine the volume of the islands, we found a difference between lifting 2 kilotons of TNT versus 4 quadrillion tons.
But hey, I know what you're thinking. What about that sage sword Ganondorf had? Shouldn't he have had an easy time killing Sauron? So Sauron just got rid of his body. Who needs it? Especially when you can rebuild one or just start fighting as a ghost. Both things Sauron could do. Another smaller point for Sauron was his weakness. Ganondorf was a clever bastard, but even with the Triforce of Power, it would have been tough for him to decode and destroy the One Ring. Meanwhile, given enough power, Sauron would naturally end up destroying Sage Sword. He's kinda got a thing for breaking swords.
Both impressive, sure, but Sauron had the edge.
And for the final nail in the coffin, Ganondorf might have been super scary, but he really wasn't around for all that long. At least not when compared to the experience Sauron has warring with the world for thousands of years.
Ganondorf certainly posed a threat to Sauron, but the ruler of Mordor's awesome might, enduring spirit, and millennia of treachery proved him the superior Dark Lord.
Wow!
Is that it?
What? Are you sour on the pun? I was pretty Tolkien about it.
The winner is Sauron.